Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wine and Real Estate.
Bonjour à tous.
So, today we're very excited. We're going to be talking with Chris Herlin, a real estate investor who I believe is in BC, but we'll let him introduce himself. That way, we won't get it wrong.
Welcome.
Introduce yourself,
Thank
Chris,
you.
for people who don't know who you are.
Thank you guys for having me here today. My name is Chris Herlin. I moved to BC not long ago. I was from Ontario, but decided to move to BC with my family as a like 10-year dream for me to live here. So it's been an exciting journey. But yeah, I'm a real estate investor that was more dedicated in Ontario in the past few months. Did a few flips, a lot of bursts too, and just love that. Just love the real estate game.
That's awesome. So tell us, are you actually investing in Ontario and living in BC, or are you stopped investing in Ontario and now just in BC?
Exactly. So I finished all my flips. I still have my burrs in Ontario. That's where my monthly salary comes from.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I finished all my flips, and then we decided to come here to continue our business here.
Excellent.
Oh, that's exciting.
And that's a huge thing you mentioned there, like your salary from these properties. We get asked all the time, Jennifer and I, how do I quit my job? How do I plan for it? So Chris, we have a perfect victim here. How did you plan your escape strategy? Like the
escape? It sounds like he was in prison.
Well, maybe he was.
Yes, he was a prison actually. Actually, it was not planned. 2020 hit, COVID hit, and I was an engineer for 17 years.
Oh my!
Did that for 17 years in my life, and for the first time ever in my career, I got laid off from work.
Gosh.
Wow.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, no, and I came out of that with a smile on my face, to be very honest, because yeah, like I've been investing in real estate. I moved from Brazil to Canada in 2013, and with no money, like just had some savings in Brazil, but with the exchange rate, it means nothing pretty much.
Oh no!
My year, like my lifetime savings in Brazil, like were slashed by a third, like basically like that. And exchange rate is horrible, right? When you're coming from a poor country.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I met my wife here, and then we started investing in real estate together. And over time, since 2014 up to 2020, we already had a few properties that we had for rentals. So very good cash flow. Of course, buying properties in 2014 compared to 2020, right? Like,
yeah.
Like equity makes a big difference. And the rents, of course, like over time we replaced renters and all that, so like cash flow got better. And that was the process to learn how cash flow and equity are so good, right? Like it just like changed my life, like changed my viewpoint of like salaries and like 9 to 5 and all that. So over time, especially in 2020, I decided to quit my job. It was my goal in 2020 to quit my job. After a boot camp that I've done in Toronto, I promised myself that I would quit my job in 90 days. After like buying, yes, in 90 days. It was ambitious at that time. And then, so I had, at that same month in February 2020, I bought 3 more properties, 3 multifamily homes in 1 month. I bought a 4-plex, a triplex, and a duplex. Got them all financed.
Crazy,
and then
man.
I was all ready. It's like I just took action right away. It's like 90 days. Okay, I need to work really fast right now. And got all the financing done. And then hit probably March, April, somewhere on those lines, I got laid off from work. Like, it didn't even hit the 90 days.
Wow.
And at that same time, I said that I came out of my smile on my face when they told me that I was laid off, because at that time I was already doing some wholesaling. I was learning wholesaling and all that. And then I already had my first flip property already purchased. And I already had my flip project already purchased, and I was like, how am I going to find time to do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, something had to change at some point, right? Something
Mhm.
had to change. I had to create more time. I would have to do something, and then this whole thing happened, and then like my life changed from that day.
Oh, that's amazing. So I want to go back to that month of February 2020, just so that we can maybe tell people a little bit concretely, like how do you buy a fourplex,
Three.
A triplex, and a duplex in 1 month?
Yeah, it seems crazy. Most people are
Yeah,
like, I
I
don't
think
have
that
a million.
it seems to be unattainable to maybe somebody who's just starting out. So why don't you just kind of give an
Insights.
overview?
Oh, it was scary. It was scary by all means. Like
Yeah.
I never done that before. Typically for me, real estate was basically buying a property and then getting financing on the spot, right? You see a property and then you go and try to find financing and all that. But when you're talking about off market deals,
Oh yeah.
things change big time, right? Like speed, like you have to really put like all the efforts on getting the financing ahead of the game or having joint venture partners and all that. And so those three properties, one, the fourplex was the JV partner. The triplex and the duplex, I found them off market from friends
Wow.
and real estate and a real estate agent actually. They had pocket deals, or the wholesaler had a great deal, and then they came week after week. Like it was almost like in like unbelievable that
One after
I
the
would see one
other.
after the other, and I put all the offers, and they got them all in
Amazing.
Wow.
really quick. And I was shaking at that point. I was like, "How am I gonna do this? I'm gonna fail!" And all that. And because mainly because my mindset right before February was that I could have only four properties with the banks, right? So like
Yeah.
everything I knew at that time was that to finance properties, I had to go to like the main four banks in Canada.
Hmm.
And that's what at least a mortgage broker told me. She's like,
Oh
"Stop
no.
coming here." She's like, "Stop coming here. I don't want to see you again. You already hit your maximum amount of properties. Don't
Wow.
even try again. Don't even try again. You're done."
Oh my
I was
goodness.
like,
So
"Oh,
very
like
limited mindset.
exactly." She put that like that limiting belief in myself, right? So my wife were like, "Well, like that's the end. So let's try to find something else to do." And I started watching videos at that time, like of people like doing hundreds of properties. I was like,
Yeah.
how are these people buying hundreds of properties? Like, I want to be one of those. I want to do that one day. And then that's when I started going to boot camps and all that, and then just getting to like a room with like-minded investors that are doing much bigger than I was, right? So like one thing that I learned over time is that if you want to do something bigger than what you're doing right now, go and join the rooms that people are doing like 10 times what you're
Way.
doing,
Yeah.
Mm.
right? Always 10 times. Like for me, it was like if I have 5 properties, I want to join people that are doing 50 properties. I want to learn how they got to 50. And then when you get to 50, I want to see 500.
Mm.
So I started joining those groups. People are doing more, right? People are doing bigger things, and that's when the limiting beliefs start going away. Like, and there, you start saying, like, yes, this is possible. That's how it's done, and then you start putting actions towards those goals and start making them happen.
Mm. So when you came to Canada in 2013, like what kind of got you into looking at real estate investing? I mean, you were an engineer already,
Yes.
or becoming one. You came with your
No.
savings and like, man,
Yeah.
I got to put my savings on some properties.
No, actually not. I was like, I was still like 20, in my 20s, and my thing was partying and like spending money. I'm a triathlete too. Like, I was all about buying the very expensive bikes and going racing all week, every weekend, and all that. So, like, I get this question very often, saying like, "Wow, like you probably like just came with like already like financial background and all that." Is it like actually not? Actually, my parents were real estate investors. I
Oh,
knew that
cool.
the power of real estate investing in
In
Brazil, at
Brazil?
least in Brazil,
Okay.
like they have
Nice.
Airbnbs. They already had properties that they're renting full time and all that. So I knew the power of real estate, but My mindset was in a different place at that time. I was like more like partying and all that, so like the typical kid, right? And my wife, actually, I met my wife here in Canada, and her parents are the same. They have Airbnbs, they have like
Oh
rental
wow,
properties and all
cool.
that. So like we
smart
both
parents.
like, exactly, like they were like the like we both like basically got that same mindset that we had from our parents, that they got their wealth out of real estate, and we're like, well, why don't we do the same thing, right? So
Yeah,
like we start buying more properties and saving money, and then really like being the good stewards with our own money, because like of course I didn't come with much money from Brazil. I came with like very limited. So our work, my wife is a dental hygienist, I'm an engineer, so we came with like good salaries, and we
Yeah.
could actually with our salaries build our portfolio, our small portfolio, until like we got rejected by the mortgage broker, and then we had to go somewhere else.
Oh, well, sometimes a rejection can be a very good thing because it makes you look outside of the box and look for more creative ideas, and then it pushes you even further than you thought you would have gone.
yeah, this is
Absolutely.
huge. I mean, that's how we've been propelled as well. We've also been told no fairly quickly. Again, your jobs can carry you, but only so far, especially on the residential financing. So how did you change from that, like from limited to 4 mortgages or 4 properties to next steps? Like I heard joint venture partners.
Yep.
Did you also qualify for some of the mortgages?
I just after that, I put a goal for myself to have a certain amount of cash in my pocket by the end of the year, and basically I envisioned that in my hand. It's like, how can I get this money in
Oh,
my
cool.
pocket by this day, right? Like, so I reverse engineer the goal. So I said, like, if I want to have $500,000 in my pocket by this date, what do I have to do? What are the fast track solution to get there?
How many flips and
How
for how
many
much?
flips?
And
Exactly. So that definitely helped me with the burrs, right? The experience with burrs, and like really refinancing the properties and understanding how much money equity makes a difference, right? So then I start finding those off-market deals that had a ton of equity on them. So I really learned how to do the RVs and all that. And then of course finding private mortgages, that was the number one thing.
Mm.
So making connections, what we're doing like basically on a daily basis, basically talking to different people every single day, and you never know who you're going to meet. And at that point in 2020 I started meeting more and more people, and I start getting more interest in doing more flips and things like that I was trying to do. And some people with money, some people that wanted to do the work with me, or people that would just want to be a money partner. And that's when I started basically like pulling money from friends at that point, allies, and then joining efforts with doing the renovations with me. And then we just start flipping more homes and end up flipping 16 houses between 2020
whoa,
2021.
that's a lot of houses.
Yeah, that's a lot of houses.
It was a lot of houses, a lot of work.
So are you actually doing the work physically yourself sometimes, or
I was.
oh, really? Wow.
I
That's why you
was.
needed the time. So see, that's an important concept. A lot of people think, okay, I need private mortgages, I need this, I need that, but I also need time. And you mentioned that earlier. At one point, having a job and becoming an investor, like a serious investor, not just a hobby, you're buying one property every 4 years or something,
Mhm.
but serious like you, 16 properties, that's a lot of time and the family and things. So
Absolutely.
you were let go, so you
Mhm.
had to clear your schedule, which was good, but it's not, sometimes it's
Absolutely.
hard. Some people have, they like their job or they're attached to it, just like you. I'm sure if they didn't lay you off, it probably would have been hard to let go of the salary and that safety net. Now you had no
Mhm.
choice. Do you have any tips or suggestions for people thinking about quitting or being laid off somehow?
I don't think
I,
anyone's thinking about being laid off,
Well,
but
sometimes the rumor is there, like you hear it
Mhm.
within the company. There's some layoffs coming.
absolutely, absolutely, and definitely, I would say have a safety. Like, of course, the comfort, especially when you have a family, right? Like I have two kids, right? You don't want to just become unemployed
Wild and
and not
free.
have anywhere else to go, right? Like serve goes so far.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know if it exists anymore. But anyways, I believe that becoming self-sufficient first is super important, right?
Yeah.
Having a goal, like basically, like I'm okay living with $5,000 a month, right? My family can live with this. I can survive. I can basically continue going and build something else on the side. But building experience on a certain field that you're very interested in, like real estate, for example, building that experience, the connections and things like that, that you can actually not only have the safety net as a salary, but as well for the future, right? Like you want to be able to continue on a consistent basis, continue that business and keep growing. And that's what I had to do, right? I didn't have an option in that case. But for people that have an option that they still have a job, put yourself in a comfortable situation, right? Like sometimes
Yeah.
we get so comfortable with the situation we are, saying like, oh, I make a good salary, I make 6 figures a year, whatever it is, and then it's very comfortable. Of course it is. That's, as an engineer, I was very close to that, and I was like, it's hard to let go a salary like that, where
Oh
banks
yeah.
look at you and you have great credit score, you can have nice cars, you can still buy houses and all that, but over time you're basically trading your life for some cash, right? You're
Oh
trading
yeah.
your and it's not what I wanted. I want to trade my time to be more with my family, do my business, do what I love. And so you really have to have the passion
Mhm.
first, right? You still really have to understand it. This is my passion. That's what I want to be doing. That's what I want to. And with the passion, more things come out of it, right? I'm a real estate investor, but I have a passion with technology, and so why don't I basically connect technology with real estate, for example? And
Yes.
then you
Mhm.
start really building to that, right? So like, how can you keep growing out of that passion and building something new and building something bigger that may impact more people than what you believe you could impact in your life, right? So what's your purpose? So it came out of purpose, it came out of everything like that, passion, purpose, and creating something better for my family.
Oh, that's awesome. So you have to tell us, Chris, why BC? You
Yeah.
said
What's
it. You
going
said
on
it was
there?
a dream for you to move there.
Oh yeah, so this is a story that like started when I moved to Canada, pretty much. And it's my dream was to move to Canada. Like this was like a dream of mine
Oh,
when I was in Brazil. So
okay.
my life is full of dreams like that I had, and then how I was gonna make those dreams happen was the question always. But that story started in 2012 when I was invited to work in Canada by the company I used to work. It was a Magna company,
Mm.
and I told my boss, like, my dream is to live here. I don't want to leave. I really want to stay. I don't want to move back to Brazil. I won't go back to Brazil. And they kind of like offered me on a verbal note a job here, but nothing was like firm. And
Hmm.
in the meantime, I got an email from someone on LinkedIn at that time already, and they offered me a job in BC. So I did an interview with them and all that. So they flew me to BC on a weekend. Nobody knew.
Wow.
Nobody, like, very few people know this. It's like very interesting to talk about this right now because they're like a long time ago. And they flew me to Vancouver one
Hmm.
weekend, and they paid for the
Mm.
whole weekend. Stay here, learn about BC, see if you like it. Very
Wow.
interesting. And they end up offering me the job, but because my goal was to stay in Canada, no matter what, no matter where, no matter what's going to happen, I said the first one that gives me the job offer and the
Uh,
paperwork, I'm going there. And
yeah.
that's what happened. Like the Magna company gave me the paperwork first, January 3rd, 2013. And
Wow.
the other company came like a week after when I
Oh
was
no,
out
1 week
actually
later.
1 week
But
after.
you probably wouldn't have met your wife and all that and your
It's
kids.
butterfly
So
effect, completely,
yeah,
completely butterfly effect, right? We don't know what would be of Chris Herlin
in
2021.
BC in
I have no
back in the
idea.
day. Maybe you'd move to
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ontario.
Maybe I would have moved to Ontario, whatever happened, right? But anyways, So that was the start of the journey of like really loving BC. I'm like an athlete. I love to triathlons and cycling and all that. And when I came to BC, like I've seen all those like bike lanes and the mountains and the water,
Very
like
green
December,
and
still nice weather, very
yeah,
green, mountain biking, all the things that I love to do, right? As apart from work, apart from like my hobbies, right? Like being like in an environment, a nice environment, it's much different than Ontario. And
Mm.
that's when I started the passion with BC. And I said, one day I'm gonna move to BC. That was my dream. Like that was something that I
Ah,
always put that in my
kept
head
you
that
going.
one day would happen somehow. And so the past year, of course, with all this flips, I could build a very good financial independence for me and my family. In the meantime, I started tech business, and then I said, "Well, I don't have to be in Ontario anymore. I don't have to be
No.
fixed in a place that maybe I should try like BC." And I talked to my wife, and we said, "Yeah, let's try it." And then 2 months ago, we just decided to drive all the way here. So we drove,
wow.
put our stuff in, like rented all our houses. Our primary residence is rented right now. So now we have only assets, no more liabilities.
And where do you
Love
live?
that.
Did you buy a house or is it a
We're
rental or?
renting. We're
Okay, it makes
renting.
Wow.
sense to get to know the community and see
Know
where the
where?
opportunities are off
Absolutely.
market.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I we moved to very close to Kelowna, BC, because there's more like tech friendly companies here. There's more
Okay.
like accelerators and things like that. And that was something that's why we moved here. We're not like big fans of big cities like Vancouver. Like we're not huge fans. Which we're going there today actually.
Ah,
Which would be like pretty much 10 years after I've been there for the first time.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like we're going there after our podcast, but it was exactly because of that. Is basically we don't know like if this is the area we want to stay, this is
Yeah.
something we want to be, you know. And the more I look at real estate here, I get more passionate about it. So it's coming back that passion, you know, like of doing like renovations and things like that. But yeah, it is a beautiful area. It's my dream. It's basically beside trails, beside everything. So
Good
we're very
wineries, I heard as well.
well, lots of wineries. Actually, in Oliver, there's a lot of wineries, or like actually plant, or like they plant the
Vineyards?
grapes for the company, the wineries in Niagara on the Lake. So
Yes,
they
Oh,
yeah, you see
wow.
that often on the labels. It says made with grapes from not imported, but
Mhm.
brought in from British Columbia.
Oh, that's
yes,
interesting.
here is a massive area for that. Anything where I am, Kelowna, all the way up to Osoyos, it's like wineries everywhere,
Wow.
everywhere. Every 5 kilometers, you see a winery.
Wow. Sounds like a dream.
Yeah,
You
we have
guys
to
should
move
come
to
here for a
BC as
visit.
well.
Yes,
Yes.
you guys
So
should be here.
to go back to kind of real estate strategies, you mentioned a little bit the burr, you mentioned flips a little bit, and you also mentioned
Joint
wholesaling
ventures,
and
Yes.
wholesaling.
joint venturing. So do you have kind of like a main kind of strategy that you like to that you prefer to use, or do you kind of go by what area, or you're just flexible and you like a lot of them?
So it really depends on my goals, right? Like
Cash
burst.
or long term or
Exactly. So long term or short term. Same with rentals, right? Long term, short term, it just
Mhm.
change
yeah.
everything, right? But burst for me is anything long term. Something that I want to keep it, something I want to use the cash flow to pay my stuff, or like even like create wealth for my family in the future. And then flips is for anything that they want cash quick, right?
Yeah.
So for those both, I use wholesale anyways, like
Okay.
Yeah.
for bursts or
Mhm.
flips, because I really love equity. Just
Well,
because I
that's,
love
I
it.
mean, you get such a
And
head start. It's
exactly.
incredible. If you buy at market price, could be okay, but it's not the
Yes.
same. You don't get that built-in equity.
Absolutely, and you have to wait the years, right, to work for you,
Yeah.
right? So I still believe that real estate is not wait and buy, or buy and wait. Basically, you have to wait to build that equity. But I think that when we buy with equity already, I had a few examples. Like I bought one of my last properties in Stratford that I kept as a burr. I bought as a pocket deal from a very good real estate friend of mine, real estate agent. She called me and she's like, Chris, this is a great deal. Like, you need to buy it. At that time, it was 2019, was $330,000. The property that they want to sell, but it was already worth close to $500,000. The house, the way it was.
Wow. So you could have just flipped it, like paint it or clean it and sell it.
Exactly. And actually, I kept the property because it's like a great area, like that's growing. It's behind a golf course. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep this house. I rehabbed it. Renovated. And then 20 days within the renovations, people were knocking the door. Are you going to rent the house?
Oh,
Within
wow.
25 days of renovations, I got the house rented.
Oh, my goodness.
And in 3 months, I got the property reappraised for $100,000 more.
Oh, my. Wow.
Got $100,000 in cash in a HELOC in that property.
And your renovations are quite, I don't think they're super expensive, what you do on average. Like,
that property was very cosmetic. I just had to finish the basement. That's basically it. Like, the upstairs was pretty much all done. It was already renovated. The basement was the one that they renovated. But yeah, it was like $15,000 in renovations. That
Wow.
property, I bought at 5% down with the bank, and so I put like $25,000, 28. That was almost $30,000. $30,000 total, and I got $100,000 check from the bank. 3 months later.
Not taxable because you kept the property. I mean, it's tax deferred, but anyway, who cares?
Well,
I
cash them all my properties. I do cash damming every single one of my properties. Like for Smith Maneuver or cash damming, I use that money to reinvest in more assets, right? So like that money is all that interest that I'm paying is all tax deductible.
Yeah, that's the advantage. Can you, we know about the Smith Maneuver, but some listeners may not. Can you explain what it is and how you've applied it?
Absolutely. So Smith Maneuver is a very it's tax strategies. So it's what Robert Kiyosaki says, not how much you make, is how much you keep.
Yeah.
Right.
So true.
Right. So what you do is basically you get the money from the rental, and of course, use the money for the rental to pay your primary residence. So what you want to do is basically kill as much as you can of your primary residence. That's your liability.
Yeah.
You kill as much as that debt, as much as you can, to basically make more cash, right? Like, so you want to kill the liabilities and keep your assets going. And then you use your HELOC to pay for the rental, like all the mortgages. So basically, you double the cash, that return.
You create more expenses in a way to help you. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So you double that. So at the end of the day, and tax is it's very high level what I said right now, but basically you use debt to pay for assets. Always something that generates cash. And then you use the money you make every month that is basically from income to pay for all your liabilities. So don't use income to pay for your assets. Use debt to pay for your assets. All the cost of your assets. So basically you get all that interest that you're paying for those loans to double the income.
Wow. I love those strategies.
Absolutely.
I love them. Like I've been doing this since 2019, and my tax returns are crazy.
That's amazing. And some lenders are better. I find like Scotiabank with the STEP program, you get a bigger and bigger HELOC. So it's neat. You don't need to get you could, but you don't have to get it reappraised, and you just build in that process. But it has to be planned from the beginning. It's not something you just apply to any old property. I mean, it's got to work. But wow, words of wisdom. This is excellent.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Chris?
No, thank you. I used RBC on mines, but
Okay.
it basically every single time as a golden nugget there. Just every single time you do a refinance, pull a equity, pull HELOC, pull a HELOC, and then a HELOC always grows. Every single time you pay your principal, you grow the HELOC, right? So basically, all that principal that you're paying goes back as money that you can borrow from the bank.
Redeploy and
So all that equity opens up.
it's like infinite banking with houses. So instead
Absolutely,
of
it's
life
infinite.
insurance, you're using
It's infinite
properties.
money. So imagine
Yeah.
you have like 6 properties with a HELOC, and every single month you're paying. I double all my mortgages, right? Because this money all comes back. So you use your income to pay double, and then basically all that money you can keep paying with the loan. After that, it just becomes like a revolve, like it's a flywheel,
Yeah.
spinning faster and faster.
That's awesome.
Can't stop it.
Can't stop. You cannot stop at some point. It just becomes so big that you cannot stop it.
I love this.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What are you going to be working on in 2022?
In BC.
Yeah, so I'm developing an app. I'm developing a platform for real estate, which is going to be ready in a week, actually.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be on Apple Store and Android Play. Basically, is what I've done my whole life in real estate, I would say, which is basically finding properties with or underutilized properties, and I focus a lot on underutilized properties because that's not focused by anyone else, right?
No,
So
it's
if
true.
you go to a realtor, they want picture perfect properties,
Yeah.
and so where do you find underutilized properties? Well, I have to go multiple different ways. There's not a single place that you can find underutilized properties. You go to wholesaler, you go to Facebook, you go to Kijiji,
Yeah.
you go to Facebook Marketplace, you go like to Craigslist, eBay, like it's like. And one of the things that I always like, because I love so much real estate, when I've seen properties on Kijiji, for me, anything secondhand marketplace is to sell something that you don't value anymore.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? So if you don't want that bicycle, you sell to someone that may use it for a better cause, or a better thing, right? You don't use it, someone will use it. If you don't like a real estate, you sell it there too. Like this is like 70% of Canadians, they use real estate as their main wealth for their families.
Yeah, that's so true.
So when you put something like that, that's wealth for your family, into a secondhand marketplace, not because Canadians don't love their properties, and I don't believe in that. I believe that is because they don't have a better option.
Yeah, no, it's true, because they think, okay, the realtor and the fees, then they go to Kijiji, but then like you said, they kind of depreciate their property there. People, it's like a garage sale. That's what it is, really.
Yeah, it's a garage sale of your property, right? But then my main thing is not only the commissions of the real estate agent, but real estate agents, they're like, it's not anything against, nothing like that. What I'm saying is that picture perfect properties, people that want to sell underutilized properties, they are like either like dirty, or like they don't want to remove their stuff from inside, or like they're not in picture perfect condition, right? Or
No
they want
staging.
to sell fast, or no staging. And sometimes like they're not viewed as a good deal for those real estate agents. And so how can we build a place that everyone is welcome?
Yeah,
everyone is welcome, independent if your property is dirty, it's like full of cluttered or something. Where can we actually build a place that everyone's welcome, independent of the condition of the house? And that's what I'm building. I'm building a place that everyone's welcome. You can buy, rent, do everything on your with any kind of property. An ecosystem that you have everything that you need, like chat, virtual showings, everything else inside.
Wow.
And then we can stay in one place.
That's really interesting.
We'll have to stay in touch and see when you launch it. Let me know, and I'll add it to the show notes. And what's the name of your app?
It's Domally. It's DOMALLY, which is a synthesis of 2 words. My wife is Polish, so Dom is house in Polish, and then ally as unite resources, people, and commodities for mutual benefit. So
very
that's
nice.
basically what we're building, right? Is a place that people can mutually benefit in the real estate world.
That's awesome.
Very exciting.
Mm-mm.
Great way to start the year 2022 with a new app and a new place to find deals, list deals, and maybe find tenants or look for your next rental. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing some information about your background, your story, and some words of wisdom. It's been a pleasure, and we'll have to connect maybe in a while and see what you're up to and how you're liking BC and adjusting and learn about your app.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. So how can somebody who wants to get a hold of you find you on social media?
Oh, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. So it's Chris Herlin anywhere. The company name is Underlies, so you can go on Domly.com. Anywhere. I'm always open. I'm always open to chat, so learn new things. So like, please reach out and let's chat.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you.